Maine? The way life should have been. You cross the bridge on 95 and something shifts. The air changes. The world slows down. This is the land that built legends. Where Joshua Chamberlain held the line at Little Round Top and saved a nation. Where Stephen King dreamed up our darkest fears from a Victorian mansion on a quiet street. Where Paul Bunyan still stands tall in Bangor, watching over a city that once roared with industry. Where Belgrade lakes shimmer gold at sunset. Where the Nubble Lighthouse has guided sailors home for over a century. Where Katahdin rises above it all, from first light to last. But something happened to Maine. Funtown is silent now. The lobster boats rot in the harbor. The streets of Portland are lined with tents. And thousands of Maine families have been torn apart. Not by tragedy, but by a system that profits from their pain. The money keeps flowing. The budgets keep growing. And the people of Maine keep asking, what happened to the way life should have been? Maine is crashing. And just like that B-24 that went down over Katahdin, nobody is coming to pull it out of the wreckage. Maine's Child Protective Services has been breaking apart families at a concerning level. And no one is paying attention. Until it's too late. Maine. We are more than too late. We have destroyed our next generation by kidnapping the very children who were meant to carry the Maine heritage forward. The children of lobstermen and loggers, of farmers and fishermen, of teachers and tradespeople. Gone.
Maine is screwed! Maine is screwed! Governors in the mansion talking crazy every day, smiling while the whole damn state's sliding away. Politicians out of sorts, running circles in the dark, passing bills that cut the people just to leave another mark. Medicaid money vanishing, kids get taken in the night, towns locking doors on families, calling it what's right. Berwick burned us out, but still they won't give back the land, while Augusta sits there laughing with blood still on their hands. millions walking out the door. DHHS looking sideways while the bodies hit the floor. Contractors stealing, councils fighting in the light, while families lose their homes and nobody makes it right. They talk about progress with a straight face and a grin, but the state's on fire and they're still just fan in the wind. Whoa, we found a federal case, they're still denying every claim. Same old machine, same old lies, same old dirty game. They lost the plot, they lost the map, they sold the future for a photo. Out of touch, out of time, out of their minds. Maine is screwed. The governor's crazy and the whole crew's lost. Maine is screwed. Politicians out of sorts while the people pay the cost. Maine is screwed. From Augusta down to every broken town. Maine is screwed. And we're the ones who's standing up to burn it down. They thought we'd stay quiet, they thought we'd just comply, but every lie they told is fuel to the fire tonight. This ain't a protest, this is a reckoning call. Maine is screwed, but the people still stand tall. Maine is screwed. Maine is screwed. Maine is screwed. The governor's crazy and the whole crew's lost. Maine is screwed. Politicians out of sorts while the people pay the cost. Maine is screwed. From Augusta down to every broken town. Maine is screwed. And we're the ones who are standing up to burn it down. Maine is screwed. Maine is screwed. We're taking it back. And we won't back down. And we won't back down.
Aha, yes. Good evening, everybody. Happy Friday evening. I'm the CPS Punisher. Sorry we are late. We had a little bit of a delayed issue here. But hey, we're in Maine, and that's what happens when we're in Maine, right? So, to no avail, what about this Maine government that we all have so much seem to have lost track of, that's gone to a completely rogue state? We have so many things that are happening in this state that we just can't even begin to imagine the tyranny that has gone on in this state. Let's see here. We can't even begin to. Well, that went well. You can't even imagine any of the things that are going on in the state. You know, we have a suit going with our town. You know, our house is burnt down. They've seized our property. I mean, this is just one of the things that the state of Maine is doing, and nobody in the state of Maine is coming to the assistance of what's going on here. And my co-host tonight, Thomas Bain, he knows that feeling oh too well too. He's been in this position. He knows what the state is capable of. He knows that they do not. Well, they're not about you and your rights. They're about them and their strong arm tactics, about what they want to do to make it so it's not the way life should be. It's the way that they want life to be, and that's pretty much the way that it seems to be. It's really unfortunate because this used to be vacation land. It used to be a lot of things for a lot of people, and it's not that anymore. You know, we used to say that the people from down south are coming into Maine, and I don't know if it's because they already have and they've infiltrated this once great vacation land and the way life should be, or if it's the fact that just the people up here have become too staunch in their own ways and they don't think about others, and they just want what they want when they want it, and they'll stop at nothing to get it. You know, if they want your properties, they'll seize your property. If they want you want you out of the town, they'll shoot you out of the town, like Thomas Bain will tell you. I mean, this stuff is just out of control up here in Maine. No one's paying attention to it. No one's monitoring it. And I don't know, everybody, I think just because we're up here in the north, that everybody just leaves it be, leaves it alone. Let me bring out Mr. Bain here. Let's see, Mr. Bain knows exactly what I'm talking about and what the state of Maine does or doesn't do to make you feel like a good president. Mr. Bain, how are you?
I'm well. Let me see here. I get the camera on.
Yeah, let's see if your camera's on here.
Oh,
it's giving me a little bit of a hard time too.
Yeah.
Hey, there you are, Mr. Bain.
So, just food for thought. I always make sure my camera is physically blocked. And
yeah, I don't blame
hey,
you
man,
for that, for sure.
Like the haircut you got. Must be in style. But hey, yeah, what you're saying is, man, that's an understatement as far as what Maine is doing, and the, holy cow, it's just, it's unbelievable, unbelievable. I mean, they are doing whatever they want. And for those that don't know, I just spent a year of my life incarcerated for nothing. They damaged my career. They sure damaged my house, let me tell you that. They shot it up, and it is for sale, by the way. Anybody want to buy a home in Lisbon Falls, Maine? It was a beautiful home. Beautiful home. Be that as it may.
Yeah.
I had.
Now, Mr. Bain, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Do they let you go back to your house?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so they haven't they at least haven't taken it away from you.
Somebody doesn't like me.
Yeah. I think that goes for both of us.
I'm used to that though, and I'll say this: being a parent, and it's something I actually had court via video in Maine the other day, and of course they don't like people to talk about it, and they put in orders for people not to speak, but I'm not concerned.
Did they gag you?
What's that?
Did they gag you?
No, but
I
wish they could. I bet they wish
Yeah,
they could.
I'm sure.
But no. But I noticed when I spent that year incarcerated on those little pads they give everybody in the cell, I made the most of my time, and I read every court case that I could read, and the patterns, because I do have a degree in systems engineering, and when you look at the patterns, and when you look at the even if you look at the the suits that have involved the Maine State Police, let me tell you what, from a safety from a safety point of view, holy cow, they have murdered people. And I've said it before, I've said it in court, I'm not afraid to say it, because because it has to be said. And I don't advocate for violence no more than anybody else does, but holy cow, they have literally, and as well, they have literally tried to take my head off to silence the message.
Right. Yep. They have.
I refuse
And
to.
look, they they don't stop. They don't stop at nothing. I mean, you're not the only one. And and if it comes from that, it comes from, DHS does the same thing to people. When they're taking people's kids up here, they don't care if they're into this for what they want to do, then they will just come and take them, and they'll put you in jail. They'll blow you up. I don't know if you've seen. Did you see? Have you seen the video I did for my situation, Mr.
Yes,
Bain?
yeah. I watched it several times, and man,
Right. I mean,
and I don't know. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, I'll be honest with you, because I travel the country, and right now I'm far, far, far away from Maine. Thank goodness, it's how I'm able to sleep. But
it's a
anyway,
good feeling, right?
seriously,
Right.
it's how I'm able to sleep, and uh, that doesn't go on in the rest of the United States. And it's funny. I'm gonna circle back to haircuts. My barber, her name's Tammy. She's awesome. And I was telling her about these things that are going on in Maine, and she was like, "Wow, I've never heard of that." And I'm gonna go look it up. And she was like, "Wow." And just like a lot of people, they do not realize. I mean, Portland, Maine has people addicted on this fentanyl or whatever drug they're doing all over the place. That's not normal, unless you're in like Los Angeles, Detroit. That's not normal for a city of that size. That's
Mhm.
horrible. And not only that,
Yeah.
you take the population versus the amount of children that get sucked into this system that causes generational damage, and it's unbelievable. Why should the are we to believe that parents are that bad? I mean, I would do anything for my children. I'd change my life for my children, you know?
Hmm.
And
Right.
and how is it that like CPS in Maine is the biggest entity, you know? And hey,
Hmm.
they took my children from a care worker, which is illegal in itself. And because
Hmm.
I have an in-depth I guess relationship, my past relationship in other states. And
Hmm.
so they did not follow any due process. Zero. Because I know how to fight
Hmm.
CPS. I know how to fight DHR or whatever 3 word, 4 word monogram they want to use throughout the country, because I've been there, you
Hmm.
know. But you cannot fight a system that does not use due process. That was the first thing I was waiting for, was that 10-day report. I know how to fight them. And what they are doing in Maine is systematic kidnapping for the benefit of the government budget. And I will
Hmm.
challenge any mathematician. I'm no mathematician. I don't want to say anything like that, but I sure will. I do know where to find the parameters to give them and let them run the equation. It's no joke. Children are being kidnapped.
Hmm.
They are being trafficked. They are being um, brainwashed to hate their parents at an unbelievable rate. And I know this because I'm involved in this, you know, and
Hmm.
I am every bit I've been Alabama Parent of the Year. Let a man have custody
Jesus,
of
have you really?
Alabama over their children. I only thought Alabama had a bad system. I tell you what, Maine is a system of trafficking, and I can put the math out there, man. And I'll say it and I'll fight it to my last breath if I have to. Hopefully, it's a long time from now, because I'm not yet done fighting for
Yeah.
my children. They're not gonna put false false images in my head of things that didn't happen. I've raised these children since they were babies, right? And so I'll say this, and if anybody's watching, I'm sure everybody's been told, children are resilient, and when my oldest was kidnapped as an infant, and oh my goodness, the trials and tribulations I went through with him. But at the end of the day, this kid's an adult now, has an amazing work ethic. He is a good kid. He is, and I always worried, at this point in his life, he's liable to be in prison or headed to prison or headed to a real good drug addiction, and he's not. So thank God for the small things. It's the little things we do when we have them that are so important. But when you don't have them at all, which is what Maine practices, then what? What do you do? You know, um,
Mm-hmm.
it's
You
it's
know,
bad.
yeah, when Maine had a federal HHS audit, I think it was last year, and they found policy deviations in 94 out of 100 randomly sampled investigations.
And I'm gonna say that
94 out of 100.
yeah, the 6% is probably just miscues, because that's a lot of cases, and holy cow.
I mean, they have one of the highest the death rates. What does that tell you?
Yes.
Uh, they're not. No one's paying attention to that. No one's paying attention to the fact that the kids that need the assistance and need the help from CPS aren't getting it in the state of Maine. That's a fact. But then even once they're put into foster care, they're not being paid attention to enough, and they're being caused harm and death. Now, why are you a system trying to protect children, and this is the outcome? This is absolutely ridiculous. And there's nobody that's coming here to help stop this. That's the scary part. I believe it was 2022 when the oversight committee did an audit on this. They had this finding, and they went on and they said what child abuse and neglect wasn't, and it went on to say that being around domestic violence amongst not domestic violence, but domestic disputes amongst parents when the children are not around, is not abuse. They said that drug use, as long as the children aren't around, so on and so forth, like that, it's not abuse. Poverty is not abuse or neglect. They gave these 4 top reasons, which you're going to find that is the most likely reason that they are coming for your kids in Maine. But the oversight committee had come out and said that these reasons, and I'll pull it up in a second, I'm going to go look for it. They said that these are not reasons to remove a child, but yet they still continue to do it. So what the hell is the problem here?
Yeah, the information
That
and the numbers are out there. I mean, and what is, you know, uh, how does this just keep going on? It just, and it's not that, we haven't shouted loud enough, but what a holy cow, you know, it's horrible. And that's just, when I was
Mhm.
in court, I told them, I said, the Androscoggin County, as you can imagine, has a problem with me because, they did call Kansas City down there and told them that I was a fugitive cop killer and armed and dangerous and vowed not to go out without a fight. And so, um, they're just disliking of me for any reason, but they, they have been fed false information about me, and they have not done their due diligence like the other states have done and come to a reasonable conclusion. They tried to take me out because of the information they were fed, and it's because they are that crooked. It's they call it like organizational shift. And so,
Mhm.
just like them burning your house down and the bullshit that they put you through, that's not normal. But they have been going so far, coloring so far out of the lines for so long that they're at a point of it's criminal. It's criminal and
Mhm.
malicious.
Mhm. And where are the people? Where are the people that come out and make the noise? Because if they can do this to you and I, they can do this to them too. So I don't understand where people are not outraged by this. I don't understand why, like people just want to sit back and just say, nope, they're going to turn their head. Where's like the old time Maine where your neighbors are your best friends and, they're there to give their lives for you pretty much. Where are those Mainers? Where is the way life should be? Has everybody moved up from Massachusetts now? And now this is what we are, is another Massachusetts. This is not the Maine that I remember growing up in, or what it was, what it used to be like. It's absolutely asinine. So, but everybody's trying, you got Michael Ryland out there that's, screaming to the tilts. You and him have a lot of things that you guys speak about, and I try to talk to him as well. You got him out there, but it seems like it's just not enough. It's not enough to make the noise. I mean, there's a bunch of families out there that are suing DHS, whatever they call them, OCFS up here. You got all of these things going on. You have them blatantly breaking all the federal rules that they're supposed to follow to get their funding, and yet they still don't care. They still don't care. It's just an ongoing thing. They just keep on doing it and doing it and doing it. I mean, I don't know. Is it Lizzie Mitchell is the head of probate court, that's also a lawyer, that was also a senator, which was also a politician, that, she's the one that's naming where these kids can and can't go? I mean, what is going on here? The fact that we're families tied to, I mean, I've said for a long time that Maine is the head of the snake for DHS and this child trafficking stuff, and just no one's listening.
You're correct. So when I left Colorado, and I had an opportunity to go to work in Maine, this was what was in my brain was, wow, because in my younger memories, when I was in Maine as a child, 7, 8 years old, I thought back to them cool summers and the lakes and the trees and the trails and, the fun. And so I did take a job in Maine, and man, it was one of the biggest mistakes I did in my life, from as far as it goes with my children. And, don't get me wrong, I love my 2 neighbors, but I think, that's, they were good neighbors while I was there. But can you imagine all this stuff, like the shooting the house and the constant, creating a perimeter around the home and the whatnot? It just, nobody deserves to live like that with that type of harassment. Not you, not I, not anybody else. And these caseworkers, they know. During this time, they took my children away. I meant to say this earlier. So I applied for a job there just to say, hey, I took every class they had and everything. So I applied for a job because I have a background in social and criminal justice, as well as far as degrees and life experiences. And it was they hired me. They was ready to put me to work, take away kids, but yet here they have my kids. I still have the letter.
Mm-hmm.
And that's.
So wait, you were gonna be a social worker up here?
No, I just I applied for the job just to see if I could get it, and I did get it. I mean, I have the scenario they sent to me, and I, long nights at the hotel, and you may have to go to different hotels. And I did it just to show, that, hey, here they are. They take my kids. They know absolutely nothing about me. Third party hearsay. Horrible stuff.
Yeah.
Not even validated. And they take the kids and, like I said, they going to give me a job taking kids.
Wow, I wish you would have hung in there or something for a little bit, and seen. You could have got the inner workings of this thing, this monster that it is. Seen what we can do, You know, like that could have been a great position to be at. You know, have a mole in there. You know,
I don't know if I could have done
it's
it.
great. You know, oh, I couldn't imagine. I mean, I couldn't imagine what kind of person does it that takes this. Like, how do you get up in the morning to go to work and know that your job is to go and destroy a family, and you're fine with doing it?
Well, you know, I
You know,
told him in
that's
court,
the sick part.
I said, all the classes that you want everybody to take, which I've taken these classes over and over, and it talks about
Mhm.
family unity and communication and all of that
Mhm.
stuff. And I told him in court, I said, y'all are going exactly against every class that's ever taught in family court,
Mhm.
you know? And I said, what sense does that make? I said, you have taken these kids on a lie. And, you know, I'm
Mhm.
coming up on almost 2 years not seeing my children, 9/10/2024.
Wow.
But I know my children are strong, you know, and
Mhm.
I have faith
Mhm.
in that. And uh, we've been through a lot, even with their older brother. And, you know, they have an adopted sister too who is amazing. And so my oldest son, you know, he had gotten, my middle child is special needs. He's an amazing kid. Very, and my oldest son had got him a phone so he could communicate with him and whatnot, find out what was going
Mhm.
on with him in the foster home. So I know that he was in an overcrowded foster home. I know that when holidays came, he either went somewhere else that wasn't the foster home where a bunch of other kids stayed,
Mhm.
or you know, a bunch of other kids
They call it a respite, right?
came where
Is that
he was
rest?
at.
Is it a respite
Yeah,
home?
and so, but they eventually took the phone from him and wouldn't let my oldest son communicate with him. And you know, we're talking about.
And that's ridiculous too, because that's supposed to be one of the things that you and your siblings are supposed to remain in contact, intact as part family. You know.
Well, you know, through all his therapy, and I had some very good therapists in Denver, because I tell you, that's another thing, you know, in Denver, and it's unfortunate that probably Combine kicked this off, but the mental health resources
Mhm.
out there, they're like 100 to 1 in Maine. You know, there is none in Maine. In fact, I'm still
Right.
waiting on a call back for my son to get some treatment. You know, that's been, we're talking
Right.
years. And, you know, I have this letter that says, hey, you know, when this kid is exposed to, you know, CPS or these caseworkers for all this, these interactions, it really, really sets him off and damages him and throws him back. And, you know, I don't know what they did with that letter. Probably wiped their ass with it. But, you know, they
Yeah.
don't
Probably
care.
so.
This is,
Mhm.
it reminds me of the widget factory. You know, it's about the money.
Yep. That's what it always is. Um, you know, Maine is. Let's see. This is Maine's removal rate has consistently ranked among the highest in the nation, often more than double the national average when adjusted for poverty. The foster care population hit a 20-year high of approximately 2,579 children in mid 2024 before declining. Even the reduced numbers leave Maine near the top of the national rankings. Now, what kind of people do they think live in Maine?
Kid beaters.
You know, these are just honest, hardworking people. You know what I mean? This is, I don't even know anybody that you know lays a hand on their kids, because up here, what we would teach is respect. You know, you respect your elders, you respect your family. You know, I know very few people up here that even get spanked, because the disappointment factor of disappointing your family's name in the town, and all that was at one point a big deal.
Right.
So you didn't do these things, you know.
It's
But now somehow this has just been thrown by the wayside.
that's a lot like Southern culture as well. You know, it's you respect your elders, or you get, you know, you get the belt or whatever. The
Right. Yep.
whippoorwill tree across the
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
but it's
Oh
not
yeah,
needed
man. You
because
know, that's
it's
scary.
taught. It's a culture of respect, and I honestly feel like it's like they're trying to destroy because it's generational. When this happens,
Hmm.
it's generational. This damage doesn't go away
Hmm.
with one generation, and a lot of times, it's financial damaging to the point that um, it's a heavy load, and that adds to stress and your health, and it goes on and on and on.
Yeah. The things that they ask you to go do, the drug tests. By the time you're said and done with the CPS case, you're lucky if you still got out of there with your job. Because of the things that they ask you to do, the classes. They basically take like a generic front on you. Oh, well, you're domestic abuse. Oh, well, you're a drug user. Oh, well, you're multiple personality disorder. Because you know what? Out of those three things, most of the people in the United States will get one of those three. You know what I mean? So it's almost like they're throwing a generic thing at you, and that's how they're grabbing your kids. But then they're saying it's under imminent danger. Well, what imminent danger? And the rules is when imminent danger has been addressed and fixed, you're supposed to get your kids back. But well, this isn't happening either.
Correct. They do not work to reunite the family whatsoever. Zero. And that's just like the paperwork, my paperwork. They have all these classes they want me to take. I could teach these classes, but I take them anyway just because. So who knows? Maybe I see a different perspective from it. I take all these classes
Mm-hmm.
and they want to do something totally opposite. And then they wrote a report that said I lunged at the camera in a video hearing, which I don't even know what that means. But I guess I don't know. I was all the way across the country, and I was having this meeting, and then they said that I was appeared to be smoking a substance. But I tell you what, I do not smoke in any hotel that I stay in because they will penalize you with that. And
Yeah, they go $200, baby.
yeah, yeah. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
doing it. And they have these new detectors, like even people that vape in some of these hotels, it's a new product out, and it can tell that you're vaping in the bathroom with that shower on. So it sends a
Oh
signal
wow.
right to the desk. So not worth
Mm-hmm.
it to me. And
Okay.
I never have. I've always been in that habit because I've traveled for work, and I never ever wanted to have to explain, hey, I was smoking in the room because I am a safety engineer. So that would be
Right.
bad.
Yeah. That doesn't go hand in hand, right?
No, no.
Oh man. Man. Oh, man, it's just I just don't know. I don't know where to. Again, this is another state that it looks just like abolishment is the only answer to this. There's how do you fix this system? I mean, they try to bring in. I forget who was before Bobby Joe Johnson. Todd. I can't think of his name. He was the one during my tenure when I was fighting for my child. Todd. Oh man, I'm drawing a blank here. Todd, whatever, Todd something. And he was just as bad, and they ripped him out, and then they replaced him with all these temporary people, and now look at where they sit. Um, they've had delays of up to 302 days in some cases when they're holding these kids. Before people have even gotten a level of care assessment, but they've been having their kids in holding.
They're
What is that?
average.
Like so they've.
You're talking average 2 years, give or take. And whether you get your children back or whether you don't. And that's not right. That's who are they
No.
to take my child away or your child away? That's
Mm-hmm.
uh I'm sure you raise your child a certain way and certain beliefs and certain this and certain that, and it's like the
Yep.
destruction of the American family happening right in front of us. We're
Mm-hmm.
screaming for it to stop, and nobody's listening
Mm-hmm.
because It's I don't know. I don't know if it's think about about the fraud that's involved in this, and the foster homes
Mm-hmm.
that do this for money. And I'm not saying everyone does, but there are plenty that do. And God bless the ones that do it for the right cause. But I would like to see the 45 social workers that wrote the letter of no competence. I'd like to see what they could come
Mm-hmm.
up with, because they're brave enough to throw out all their benefits and whatnot. Here's one of the
Right.
things. Everywhere I've worked in this nation, I have never been anywhere that has the benefit package that they have as a state employee.
Oh yeah, they got a good one up here,
And
right?
that's where your high taxes are going. Yeah, like it's unbelievable. Unbelievable good, you know? And it's,
Mm-hmm.
they get all these paid days off. They get, you get things that you wouldn't get at a regular company, because it's not financially um, responsible. And yet here they do it,
Mm-hmm.
and it adds to the tax money, and they keep getting bigger and bigger every year.
Yeah, it's a growing monster. I got this. I'm going to share this little video here. Bane, check this thing out I put together. Let me see here. Three. Where is it? This is a little. This will tell you about the fraud that we have in this state, man. It's pretty. Let's see, where are you here? Let's see. Let me see. Where the hell did it go? It's about. Here we go. Boom. Check this out. This is not playing it right. Hold on a minute. Wrong one. That's the slides for it. But let's see here. Let's see, where are you? Where are you? There we go. Here it is. Sorry about that. There we go.
Welcome to Corruption of the Week. This is the CPS Punisher Maine Matters podcast, episode the 4th of August 2026. Taxpayers robbed, disabled Mainers neglected and abused, and the state of Maine finally forced to act under federal fire. Let's break it down. This week, the Mills administration finally admitted what federal officials and investigators have been screaming for months: massive fraud inside Maine Care. 5 providers just had their taxpayer spigot shut off for credible allegations of fraud. Gateway Community Services, Maine Connect Care, Trident Medical International, Decent Healthcare, and Community Home Healthcare, one of the biggest billers in the state. Names on the board, money stopped. This is not a paperwork cleanup. This is the first real crack in the dam. These are not clerical errors. DHHS letters obtained by investigators state the agencies billed for services that never happened. They used workers who were excluded from the program or completely unlicensed. One agency ran prescriptions under another provider's identification number. Background checks were skipped. Millions of dollars in questionable claims flowed out while the state looked the other way. This is textbook Medicaid fraud, and it ran for years. While the billers got rich, the people they were paid to care for lived in squalor and abuse. Federal auditors already flagged more than $45 in improper payments for autism and rehabilitative services. One agency, Paradise Residential Services, was terminated for putting clients in immediate jeopardy. Disabled Mainers sat in filth while the people billing the state for their care enjoyed luxury vehicles and lifestyles. Don't This give is not Augustine compassion credit for sudden integrity. This is predation. This happened because the heat got too hot. The CMS administrator came to Maine in person. The vice president publicly called the state a fraud bronze medalist. Federal task force scrutiny and multiple audits piled up. Only then did the suspensions drop. Now, even the Attorney General's office is scrambling to hire a new healthcare crimes unit director. Pressure works. Silence does not. The CPS Punisher is not asking. We are demanding full federal prosecutions, permanent exclusion of every fraudulent provider, an independent, transparent audit of the entire Maine Care home health and autism system. No more delays. No more excuses. No more looking the other way while vulnerable Mainers suffer and taxpayers get robbed. This is Maine Matters. Truth, accountability, justice. See you next week.
I mean, there you go, Bain, right there. Millions and millions of dollars of fraudulent billing, all those things, you know. And again, no one is being held accountable for it. You know, like you said, you had those 100 and how many caseworkers that came out with that letter against the state, against Maine CPS, and no one's doing anything. You know, it's like the voice gets heard, the voice comes out, and then boom. You know, that's it. No one pays attention any longer.
My child was supposed to receive services from Gateway, so isn't that amazing?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's almost like you want to say kudos, but you can't because she knew what was going on with it to begin with. You know, like that's the thing.
Oh yeah. Well, anytime in the construction world, everybody knows what a no bid contract means.
Mm-hmm.
That means, it means what it means. No bid contract. I'm giving you this, and you're going to give me something in return. Every construction worker in the United States knows that. We know what no bids mean. That means favoritism. That means what it means. Professionally, it's not supposed to be that way, but it is. That's reality. And I've always wanted to say this, and when I was up there, I was looking at it was interesting. They were talking about that electrical line that was coming down all the way through the state, and and if you take that and you overlay that with where all these Chinese grow houses have been busted, take a look at that. When I say that, I don't joke when I say Maine is a communist state, and that's not a joke because Maine has the most islands, I guess, or the most lineage of any state on the ocean, and they're getting the Chinese grow materials in there. I know I've seen it on the news and seen it from other different sources. And if they're getting grow materials in, what else are they getting in? I mean, and you think about it, and it's corruption. It's the selling out of our country. And I'm not afraid to say it. And I know that's my personal opinion. That's just me. I'm not saying anything other than that, but that's how I feel, and The main CPS system, the DHHS, it is so full of fraud. It is child trafficking. There's no other word
Mhm.
for it. The numbers don't lie. So
Yeah, it says um, this thing here says this is not well-intended mistakes. It's a system that routinely violates its own investigation policies and federal capture requirements, claims Title 4E dollars on error cases, places children in homes without required checks. I know that for a fact because they did it to me. Faces open revolt from its own frontline workers and removes children at rates above the national average. This is a state. It's operating in a manner that systematically violates the Fourth Amendment, unreasonable seizures of children, and 14th Amendment fundamental liberty interests of parents in the care and custody of their children, requiring due process and clear and convincing evidence. The money follows the removal. The rules are not followed. The internal critics are ignored or punished. That is the corruption. That is, and that's it. That's what's going on here. That's
yeah,
exactly it. You can't say it any differently. And the thing is what do you do? And you know what the answer is? I don't know, Bane. And I know you don't either. I mean, you've gone through from top to bottom of all of the criminal aspects and complaint aspects and everything, and you still have yet to meet any sort of a remedy that makes you feel like you've been righted, right?
oh yeah. Well, there's nothing they could do to right what they have done to my children, me and my children. But it's gotten, this is more. This is a lifelong cause, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not about my kids. It's about your kids. It's about everybody's kids because this system is. They're causing so much psychological damage that doesn't need to be there, you know
Mm-hmm.
and that's just it's I mentioned to you about my one friend, and he's actually from Bangor, Maine, and he was just telling me about some of the things that he went through because he went through it from the perspective of a child that was taken, and so he has a lot to say on that matter. And
Yeah, we should get him on the show
yes, I
next
just
week,
got to
maybe.
schedule it with him. He's a
Yeah, maybe
really good
next week.
guy, but his nickname's Twisted. Just gonna warn you.
Well, I mean, then he fit the mold here, right?
Yeah. Well,
He'll
like I
definitely
said,
fit the mold.
it's generational damage, and there's no, hey, let's work to bring the family together. Let's do this. Let's do that. No, and it's just awful.
Hmm. They definitely don't work towards reunification here in the state. Um, I don't know. I'm trying to pull up the numbers now. What they say their reunification rate is, and I'll guarantee you that that's a lie. Whatever it comes up with, I'm sure it's a lie. I'm trying to pull that up right now. Um, because this state, I've yet to meet any person that's been reunified in this state with their children. Have
Well,
you?
when I had those, I wrote 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue weekly, and I wrote letters to my children and asked, I wrote the White House on a regular basis,
Hmm.
and just screaming, "Hey, look at this!" And I wrote letters to Melania Trump that I was hoped that they would have read to my children and in a reunification, because here I am sitting in a 6 by 8 cell for no reason while they destroy
Hmm.
everything I've worked for all my life, including my health, and damage my children to a point of something that probably can't be fixed. Maybe it can, I'm sure it will get better, but holy cow.
Right. And what do you? Once they remove that child, the damage is done. Whether it's for 10 minutes or 10 months. Once the second that car takes your child away, that's it. They've created that first line of damage that's done to your kid. And that's they don't realize that. Like, where is the let's keep the family together and work through this stuff? I know your whole case is based on BS, and so was mine. Ryan Michaels, same thing. Like his was all BS. Like this, that's what they're doing here. But they're just coming in and swooping up and taking your kids before they're even listening to you. Where's guilty? Where's innocent until proven guilty? It's guilty until proven innocent here.
Yeah. And even proven innocent, you still don't get your kids, because that's just like they come at me with the age old, he's a drug addict, blah, 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 blah. Well, okay, I passed the drug test. The other parent doesn't pass the drug test. I still don't get to even talk to the kids.
Somebody.
Yeah.
And so are you TPR'd? Or are you still waiting, or what's going on with you there?
So I have hey, you'll like this. I was told by the judicial officer that no public defender in the state of Maine will represent me. So I take that as a compliment, because I am not, when I spent that year, the amount of people, the public defender system is frauding the system too. And they're frauding it through CPS and the due process. I'm telling you, because they aren't even doing anything. But it's another aspect of fraud that's in the who knows how much. And because I done all my work, and but yeah, I have another hearing, and I've actually filed for jurisdiction here in Alabama. They can't take the kids away because Alabama holds exclusive jurisdiction. You can't. It's one of those things, and so we'll see what happens. But like I said, I've raised those boys, and I know they're going to be good to go. But that I know they, through this whole fight with this parent, and this is not my oldest son's mother, this is my youngest two's mother. We've never had an issue. And, she had sent me a letter and wrote a letter saying that Jack Waite of Portland CPS said, hey, if you testify that he is violent and all this other stuff, you will get the kids. And that's exactly what she did, and she got the kids. I have the letter. She wrote it down and had it notarized. So it's a joke up there. But I know my boys miss their mama, because I have been mom and dad for so long, and it's unfortunate that she doesn't have the best parenting skills, and that's where the issue lies, because they have to be safe at the end of the day. I want them to see their mom, but she can't make, for whatever reason, she has trouble taking care of herself.
And then but they, chances are good that that's where they go. They go back to the one that's, committing the most violations, and that's not right either, but that's what happens. They're the ones that are committing all of the crimes and the neglect and the abuse. Cool, we'll give them the custody, not you.
Well, yeah, now she's getting financial aid for the lie, so it's picked up quite a bit, and
Right.
it's like I told the judge. I said, I said we have to move. When I had court last week, I said at this point we have to move forward. You can't do nothing about, the quickest way to eliminate this harm to these children is we've got to move forward. And of course, the little prosecutor from Androscoggin County, he's absolutely doesn't want, He's playing his part like he normally does. Same office that called Kansas City and said I was cop killer.
Jesus. Maine's average right now is 4 kids per 1,000 that, 4 per 1,000 that are removed. The national average is 2.4. So it's nearly double the national average for children being removed from their families. And there's something to be said for that, man. There's definitely something to be said for that.
They're pushing an agenda on these children.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, Maine was one of those. I don't know if that's where the fight lies with that, but I know that Maine was one of the cities that, or one of the states that said, hey, if you want to do the genital mutilation and you don't know if you're a guy or a girl and you want to, try it out, come to Maine and we'll do it for you. We'll TPR you. And then we'll find you a new set of, family or caretakers. Now, who does that? They're given the okay for 13-year-olds to run around and get gender mutilation because they're, PTSD or they're whatever. And yet, it's just, I can't believe that this is what we've come to. I can't believe that this is where we're at. I can't believe that this state said, hey, we're going to screw you if you're a parent. You get no say. If your child can make it to Maine and get this gender mutilation, we will TPR you from afar, and then we'll give you these kids. And that's, that's no good either. No good at all.
Kidnapping and brainwashing.
That's all they're doing, my man. That's it. Let's see here. Let's look through these comments, see what we got here. Don't forget, guys, the Find Your Loved Ones app. Man, you saw that, right? Did you see that app I made?
Yeah, I want to have my homeboy check it out. And
yeah, okay.
I told him about it.
Yep. Oh, cool. Good. I mean, the biggest thing for that is that we need to make that thing catch on to everybody, because it's gonna, the more people that use it is the more exposure it's gonna get. It doesn't cost you anything to sign up, be a part of it. It's just looking for you and your, your loved ones that you've lost through CPS or DHHS interactions. So I mean, we're not like we're. Well, I'm just saying that we're doing what we can do. Let me see what do we got there. The absolute numbers of families are still being broken apart remain high. Yep, we know all that. We know it all. We know all of it's happening. We know all of it's done. But what do we do, Bane? And I think that's the next question that needs to be answered. And I think maybe that's what we should talk about next week with your friends. What do we do about all of this? We know all of these numbers. We know that it's fraudulent. We know there's corruption. We know that they lie. We know that they're stealing kids at a rapid rate. But we need to find an answer to all this, because bitching isn't going to do a damn thing. So I think that should be what we talk about on our next episode, is what's the remedy for all of this. So yeah, that's it. That's these Maine matters, guys. Let's take a look at these comments. And Maine, I know that we're talking about Maine, but every one of these states have issues just like this. Like we're all right here in the same problem. Yeah, Susie, there sure is. There's a spoon in the sink. Call the FBI. Yep, that's right. That's my cousin Susie and Louie. Right there. They're from Maine. They've dealt with this stuff for their whole lives too. Their daughter was stolen. At 2 years old. They weren't even TPR'd or anything, and their daughter was stolen and readopted. It's disgusting that the state just allows these things to happen.
It endorses it through the court system.
Oh, you ain't lying there, my man. That is no lie. It's detrimental to us and our children. Sure is. Absolutely. It's just that's what there is. That's what we're doing here. Well, that's good. And then let's see what else we got up here. Charlene from Angels Advocacy is right here. Association. We're going to thank her. She does a lot. Being for the kids that have been taken from CPS and getting back home. She's done so much for them. She's an awesome woman. I mean, maybe we should talk to her too about getting something going on up here in Maine to help these kids that if they are being see, I feel like if you have groups like Charlene's group that's out there and helping the kids that have come back home from CPS, I feel like they're more apt to release these kids to, reunify, So maybe we need to get Charlene's groups up here and get them working hard and helping these kids that have faced CPS, because there is no programs, there's no nothing for these kids. When you get your kid back, you get a broken child with no instruction book and no open-ended paycheck on it, or no open-ended credit card or check or anything to cover what it's going to cost to get them back to being a kid. Maine isn't spending that money doing that, that's for damn sure. So let's see. How do they use all this? How do you use all this against them? Well, Dane, do you have any answer for that?
If I did, I'd have done used it. Don't get me wrong. Anybody out there in the audience, they got an idea, throw it. I mean, I'll run the football with anything. I just don't know. I've been beating this dragon for about 20 years myself, and man, what it takes from you, what it takes from your children, just it's not right. And are we to believe that we are a nation of child abusers? I mean, does that make any sense?
No, and I say that all the time, especially up here. You know what I mean? Like this is a place of love and caring for your family, and family is like like Maine has grown up quite a bit, but back when I was a kid, it's very isolated between the towns and the cities. I mean, our biggest city is what, a million people maybe?
Yeah.
I mean, what's the population of Maine? 3 million something? We're not a very big state, and I don't see it. People use their children's as their legacy and as their workers, so I don't see where all this abuse is supposedly happening from. Doesn't make any sense. The numbers don't work.
And it don't work with mandatory reporting either,
That's the next thing.
Yeah, and it's that's like down south. That is to abuse children is extremely frowned upon, and they don't play that shit. But you still have a systematic problem down here as well. Just like, it's in every state. But Maine is running away with, that's, see, when I moved from Colorado and I got to Maine and I got exposure to the CPS in Maine and I started looking at the numbers, I was like, holy cow. What is going on? And especially like you mentioned, the death rate, there's something wrong with that. Severely wrong.
Yep. So Charlene asks this, she says, so everything is done and is completed on the plan and there's still no return of your kids? No, Charlene, they don't do that up here. Unfortunately, they do not. My wife and I, we did everything and then some. My wife actually went to 5 different counselors that all cleared her, and that still wasn't enough for them. They didn't like the answer of saying that everything was fine and there was nothing what they had been claiming. And they still, nope, they don't return your kids. Bane, you did all your parenting classes. Hell, like you said, you could teach them, and still no kids back at your house. It's pretty disgusting. It's really disgusting, and this is where Maine needs to act and get their head out of their asses, and the people of Maine need to start standing up and assisting the people that are being affected by this. That's the only other thing that we can say is we need to have the full support of the public on this. And the problem with this is that nobody says anything until they are the ones that are in the hot seat.
That's right. And for the ones that do are just getting in the hot seat, we need mom, dad, sister, brother, uncle, whatever. We need to get together. We need to bring a voice so loud that they got to hear it. Because it's just unbelievable. It's serious child trafficking, and it has to
Yep.
stop.
Yep, it sure does. All right, Mr. Bain. Well, we've reached our hour, my friend. Thanks for helping me tonight. Hang tight, will you, Mr. Bain?
Sure thing.
After this, the end here, and let's chat for a minute. But everybody else, thanks for watching Maine Matters. We'll be back next week with another episode. And Mr. Bain, thank you so much. We'll catch you all next week, 7 o'clock.
Governors in the mansion talking crazy every day, smiling while the whole damn state's sliding away. Politicians out of sorts, running circles in the dark, passing bills that cut the people just to leave another mark. Medicaid money vanishing, kids get taken in the night, towns locking doors on families, calling it what's right. Berwick burned us out, but still they won't give back the land, while Augusta sits there laughing with blood still on their hands. They lost the plot, they lost the map, they sold the future for a photo op. Out of touch, out of time, out of their minds. The governor's crazy and the whole crew's lost. Politicians out of sorts while the people pay the cost. From Augusta down to every broken town, and we're the ones who are standing up to burn it down. Fraud in the system, millions walking out the door. DHHS looking sideways while the bodies hit the floor. Contractors stealing, councils fighting in the light, while families lose their homes and nobody makes it right. They talk about progress with a straight face and a grin, but the state's on fire and they're still just fanning the wind. Whoa, we found a federal case, they're still denying every claim. Same old machine, same old lies, same old dirty game. They lost the plot, they lost the map, they sold the future for a photo op. Out of touch, out of time, out of their minds. The governor's crazy and the whole crew's lost. Politicians out of sorts while the people pay the cost. From Augusta down to every broken town, and we're the ones who's standing up to burn it down. They thought we'd stay quiet, they thought we'd just comply, but every